Thanks for everyone's promptness. Could I call to order HCID number 1? Our first item of business is to approve the minutes of the January 22nd, 2020 meeting, and the minutes were sent out beforehand.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I understand there's nobody from the public that wishes to comment? All right, so that moves us on to the next item, which is a resolution concerning exemption of residents' homesteads from taxation, tab 2, page 3.
Stephen will lead us through that.
It's that time again. If you so choose today, approve this resolution, you will be reapproving the homestead exemption that this district has granted ever since we started levying a tax, which is $15,000 for 65 and over and disabled, and a blanket 20% for all homesteads, but not less than 5,000.
I move we adopt the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And did we need a resolution there?
You do, I think your script says review the report, but we do need a motion to approve the resolution.
All right, so
that was my mistake.
All right, thank you. So we move on to the next item, which is the memorandum of investment officer, page 4.
Again, every year in February, John has to present the board with his disclosure memorandum, and he's disclosing he has nothing to disclose. But if he did have an interest in any of the companies that we do business with for investments, he would have to disclose that.
Is it prohibited?
It's not prohibited, you just have to disclose.
Disclose and approve it, or just disclose it?
Just disclose.
I'm just curious. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion to accept the memorandum?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. The next item is to review the district's investment policy and consider approval of any recommended changes, tab 2, page 5.
Ms. Daniels, you lead us through that.
Okay, thank you. This is our annual investment policy for the district that kind of governs how we use the funds, the public funds, and what we're able to invest in, what kind of collateral we're required to have for deposits that require collateral. We have made no changes to the policy for this year. It is the same as last year. You can approve it this meeting, or if you'd like to read over it more thoroughly, then we can approve it at the next meeting. Again, there were no changes. On page 22, I tried to outline just an overview of each section that talks about the purpose, it's required by law, how we have an investment officer, which is John Breeding. It talks about the training. These are just kind of highlight overviews of everything that's in the policy. If we made any updates, I would have put it there in the status and gave a description of it, but we've made no changes this year. But we are required to review and approve it annually. Are there questions or concerns? Is it your pleasure to approve it at this meeting, or would you like more time to review?
Need a motion?
Sure.
Motion?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And I'm assuming that's to approve the policy at this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving the policy at this meeting and not deferring it?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you. The next item is to receive an update on projects.
Well, in honor of previous board chairmans, Kendall, you could probably have set a record today.
You're gonna not allow that to happen.
Right. We could have, those were some.
We want Mr. Gabrobner's pace to live,
The 15-minute
On.
previous record could have gone by the wayside. I appreciate your deferment to Cody. And so we some of these things were administrative. We do have to do them as part of this, the county's the tax rate and levying process. But we do have good presentations on both Post Oak Boulevard and the Memorial Park project. And with that, Mr. Tavi, lead us through, and hopefully he'll make it with the voice he has left.
Getting my tire, I was out in the field this morning and I didn't really remember about the board meetings this afternoon. again is a fly-through, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna fly through from the north end transit center, being constructed out. The temporary is over there with the loop, but this is the permanent that's coming into fruition. Raytech, one of our contractors, got the bid to work from the bridge down to where TxDOT was constructing, and they're under construction right now. Actually, this is a couple days old.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah, they have both lanes, both directions on the west side of the structure between Memorial and I-10. So they're working on the east side to complete some drainage work and get ready for pavement work.
The goal on this, Robert, I think, is to, by midsummer, have this ready to have their 2 dedicated bus lanes
They have
completed.
bus lanes and one lane with traffic in each direction.
By the time we start revenue operation. So,
And again, the,
If you pause a second, Gerald just asked a question about the Northwest Transit Center. They are operating right now in temporary facilities and can control and operate the VRT for Post Oak Boulevard out of there, temporary. It's currently scheduled, I think, for end of December of this year, 2020, to be completed. So they'll have the street improvements done by midsummer and can operate out of this temporarily until later the year, in December.
this is a contract from Spall Class. This is the one that will be done by the end of the calendar year. This work here is going to be done by one of our contractors, Raytech, and they're just got started, and they'll be, have one lane in each direction by end of March, was it?
Yeah.
April timeframe. And again, TxDOT's contract for the aerial structure all the way down to Post Oak here is within 40 days of substantial completion. So they're done with 90% of it. You're gonna fly down through the hole.
Yeah. I'll let it go on its own.
So as you tell, all the way like striping here.
Walls
The rails are up that they've been missing, and they're working on the pavement and the walls. Bring it down to grade here.
Guys obviously getting braver.
Getting better.
Watch this.
I saw him out there today.
There's a firm doing the traffic signal under the Post Oak structure. That's okay. Keep going.
I haven't done anything.
I looked at it.
Complete that work. Our work is done. We have the barriers out there. We're going to be doing some striping in the bus lanes, and they'll be useful for that. As soon as that striping is done, that says buses only, we'll be pulling the orange barriers out and getting rid of them. And I would assume that buses will be tested periodically through April, May, down the lane.
Sorry, John Deere bringing
In
the
class one.
Sure.
flower program here.
Those are great. When did those get put out?
They get plenty in November and December. They peak up.
This all work has been completed again, we're trying to close out the contracts in the next 90 days or less. And we are down to just south of Williams Tower, which we enter into where TxDOT work is continuing. They are done with the pavement work, and they invited us in, remember, mid-January to work in the 46 feet in the middle. Since that time, we've completed the bus lanes from the signal, what we call Fairdale, and that's coming up in just a second. Right here, stop if you can. So from this intersection that we've created here called Fairdale, down we have the 2 stations, one on this side, one on that side that we're constructing. The bus lanes are there except for at the intersection. And I have some still pictures after this, I believe, that shows the.
Barbara, you might explain the big hole here, if you get a little closer to that intersection.
Yeah. So at this location where the
Okay,
shuttle
stop.
is, we found a water leak, and the city of Houston hired their as-needed contractor to come in and repair it. It's a 36-inch water line underneath there that had a 45 angle connection that had kind of moved or separated a little bit, and it was sprung leak. So we are right now, currently, today, down there, because they figured out how to turn off the 36 and make the repairs, and by tomorrow, they should have that repair done, and we should be back to where we have control of this area in between the pavements.
There, concrete for the traffic lanes and for the bus lanes exists from this point to West Park, correct? And our job is to build the stations. Dave, could you back that up so Robert can show us where stations are?
I was gonna show it's still of the pad, it shows a little bit, but the station, the northbound station is right here where the extra steel is coming in. This is the ramp down to the crosswalk. This was poured 2 or 3
Yesterday.
days, yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I think. It's probably curing at this point, but all the bus lanes from this point south are done, and it's just that one intersection at the city.
Where is the southbound station?
If you back
Back
up
up a
just
little.
a tad, a little bit more. Okay, this box here is the utility area of the station that fits right in here. Ramp to get up to the crosswalk here.
So the Richmond station, one northbound near Richmond, and the south one here near Fairgate.
It's close. Close.
Well, they aren't, we'd love to have them a little bit closer than that, but they're both on the north side of Richmond.
Yeah, why?
And simply because that's where people are. If you build
It
bigger.
will be.
Yeah.
Probably go a lot.
This is TxDOT. They're working in their territory, and they're, have committed to the end of March to be completed with all their work. We're coming up to a little bridge section that was part of the critical path, get over the Hectra Road. Stop, if you can. Yeah. This is the bridge structure right here to get over. And they just pour this rail here, which will attach our conduit communication systems to get over the structure. And that is how we will connect all the metro fiber that goes all the way from the transit center, all the way to the far north end, to the northwest transit center.
This little bridge is built over the inbound exit of the toll road to Post Oak Boulevard,
And this way.
right at Richmond. and Post Oak Boulevard.
There, TxDOT is down there working on the traffic signal at West Park at southbound frontage road. That includes our bar signals for the buses coming up at this point. And again, we're coming up parallel and next to the southbound frontage road. And we operate in that signal just like another southbound, or separate southbound lane that has unique left turn and right turn movement. This is, some of the work on the right-hand side here is to cover up the communication ducts that we put underneath the old pavement that was between the toll road walls and the back curb. It's just a sidewalk area or paved area. We've widened it where the traffic is running eastbound so that we can get our left turn lanes in there, and approaching a different level here. Over the T-ramp, coming down to the transit center. The transit center was substantially complete a week ago, and they have now a punch list that they're working on the next 60 days to complete the punch list, to complete that work.
Robert, you got some slides here as well as.
So this is the city out there, today, working on exposing the 36-inch water line so they can repair it, and that's ongoing. This is looking northbound, and this northbound lane's over here. This is our pad that we put in to support the shelter structure and all the ductwork that has to go in to feed all the lights, the cameras, the speakers, all this stuff has to feed in between the layers of steel that we put in before we pour it. Here's a second shot of the extra steel on top.
Looks like your ball.
This is a shot of the transit center with our temporary office there. And we have landscaping, grass hasn't taken yet. But it's doing, we're cleaning up as much as we can, getting striping down where we can. We're doing elevator work. The elevators are done, but they haven't been commissioned or approved by the state yet.
Could you hold on right here? I mean, you are on the third level where the buses from Sugar Land, et cetera, will come in. And then you can take elevators or these stairs down to the first level where the buses are located. So you're actually looking down flights of stairs that take you from the third level to the first level.
And if you remember our discussions about the big-ass fans, those are the big-ass fans up there, and they will blow and keep the air moving up and down the stairways. And this is the top is the third level, canopy out, and buses pull in where the jagged curve is. The bus, front end of the bus pulls in and it goes around. Second level is all parking, and then the first level is our drop-off area down below. This is a fire access that we have up to Anderson Street and Bel Air area, and it comes all the way across the front where the dumpster is and back out. So there's a means by which we have fire protection.
So if you come in from Sugar Land, you land on the first floor or third floor?
You get out of your bus,
Come over
you're
the
down.
HOV.
And then you go down to the first floor to go into Uptown?
Right.
Okay.
And if you're on a local bus from Bel Air, that we have bays for local buses at that first level as well. So the first level buses you could jump across the platform and get on the Uptown BRT bus, or you could take the elevator or the stairs and go up and catch a HOV bus headed downtown. So local would get essentially park and ride type express.
Really?
Yeah. So it's good on all parts. The only thing I'd say, we're wanting to host the board for just a little bit of something. We're trying to do it sometime in late April or May, and have us maybe travel the entire corridor to see how it works, and then maybe have a little dinner up on the transit center, celebrate ourselves a little bit and all the work. One of our you board members and the TERS board members have been great defenders and justifiers of this project. And I think one of our TERS board members said, we might need to have a thank you dinner. So we're going to try to set something up and hopefully it'll be fun for everyone. I asked Andrew Jarrett if he'd lead us through a Memorial Park update. This isn't directly tied to what the district does, but much of our effort and certainly working with the TERS, this relates, and he has a really fantastic video you're going to see in just a moment. And this video was produced together with Memorial Park Conservancy and the Uptown Development Authority. So Andrew, I probably stole everything you were going to say as an intro here.
All I'd like to say is, we're looking from the golf course towards Uptown. We're 33 months away from this, and we'll run the video. This video was presented at the gala NPC's on last Thursday. And there is audio, so.
Over thousands of years, the coastal prairie defined life and formed the identity of southern Texas. From the native Tonkawa, Akokisa, and Karankawa tribes to the settlers, cowboys, ranchers, and founders of the state. With vibrant, interconnected biodiversity, these endangered prairies have long provided protection and sustenance for both humans and animals. As Houston's largest urban wilderness, Memorial Park reflects the city's challenges. Railroads and highways have disrupted centuries-old natural flows and processes, and the increase in paved surfaces is limiting the ability to handle stormwater and withstand hurricanes, floods, and droughts, leaving Memorial Park divided and vulnerable. Over 2 years, a remarkable number of organizations and thousands of individuals took action, working together alongside a multidisciplinary design team to reimagine a resilient memorial park for all. In 2015, the master plan was enthusiastically approved. And in 2018, an ambitious 10-year plan was established to accelerate the building of the re-envisioned park. Reflecting the vision and values of the planning process, the Land Bridge and Prairie is an important new landscape designed to reunify the park for both people and animals, and to establish nearly 100 acres of connected native prairie ecology. Designed to thrive in response to future challenges, the Land Bridge and Prairie will help to create a culturally engaging, healthy, connected, and resilient park. Restoration of soil biology will be essential to the success of the Land Bridge and Prairie. Capable of withstanding both floods and droughts, deep-rooted prairie plants will help to clean the air while providing consistent food and habitat for diverse species of pollinators and birds, and immersing visitors in a vibrant native landscape and nearly lost natural heritage. The Land Bridge and Prairie will increase the capacity to slow, infiltrate, direct, and cleanse water during normal rain events, as well as during major storms. It will improve circulation for pedestrians, runners, and cyclists within the park, and increase wildlife connectivity. A dynamic destination, the Land Bridge and Prairie will inspire broader connections to neighborhoods throughout Greater Houston, and will support millions of migratory animals following ancient pathways. Houstonians will once again be able to experience the beauty of the coastal prairie ecosystem, a place to feel the pulse of nature, take flight, explore, a place to notice and feel time passing, climb higher, a place to feel what first brought us here, and celebrate why we stay.
Hard to follow that, huh? I'm gonna give you a short update on where we are on our pricing. We're targeting October 2022 as our completion date. We've currently done, or previously done, $54 million targeting pricing. We've repriced at 60%. on our DD packages. We came in at 56 to 58 million, and now we're repricing again as we go into our procurement activities, the real stuff. So we're targeting 54, we went up to 57, we're 58 now. So we've got some work to drive this back down to the 54, $55 million pricing. The big hitters were landscape that have gone up and earthwork. The structural components have actually come down. So we're looking fairly good there. Roadways, utilities have come in about what we expected. Increases in earthwork, the structural fill, and we're looking at different ways to minimize that cost. There's other structural fills that we can use around the tunnel to maybe get those costs down another $500,000 to $1 million. Our subs have gone up just a little bit. One of the big things we're looking at is during the bidding process, we think we can get a 5% plus or minus reduction of pricing, which would bring us again back into the $54, $55 million hard cost for construction. Increasing in landscape, we've got some maintenance fees that we have to pay for 2 years of maintenance going forward of the prairie. That could be a couple million. We're looking at a way of cutting $1 million out of that. Imported compost, that's what we use to develop the prairie and the landscape, and we're looking at ways to eliminate that. That's another $1 million. Temporary irrigation, we're looking at ways to minimize different areas of the prairie to irrigate, another $500,000. And then the restrictor, that's what stops or slows the water out to Buffalo Bayou. So we're looking at different designs there also. Upcoming key dates, we let the RFP package out for the arches, the roadways, the foundations on February the 16th. Those packages will be back, or the bids will be back in March. So we'll have a much better idea of pricing there.
Andrew, will that come back in terms of precast and cast in place?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What we've seen in the marketplace, precast is gonna win, but we're carrying
the
that out.
marketplace says.
We'll see what the marketplace says. Then the rest of the bid packages will go out March the 16th, return on my oldest daughter's birthday, the 27th. And then the big ticket item here for this group and for me is getting this guaranteed maximum price with Tellefson, binding us back down to that $54, $55 million price tag, and then beginning the project in July of this year.
Any questions or anything? I appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, I have only one other thing. As you heard, Andrew sounds pretty good, Robert sounds awful. The other morning I came in and Robert was coughing, and he kept coughing. And I walked into his office and I said, Robert, if you die before this project is complete, I'm gonna be terribly disappointed. And Robert thought for a minute and goes, substantially complete? So I thought that that's a bit of an industry joke, but even in his sickness. So we, as you can see, a lot of great progress. I am more than elated with TxDOT's efforts to make the March 31 at the north end and certainly at Post Oak Boulevard in the West Loop. And they're also making the March 31 and have done it essentially down here from Richmond south. So all the team players really came together just out of goodwill without any, the only thing we can do is say please. And I think their desire to produce a good project. So Metro is going to be able to, beginning in April, begin to run buses on a more scheduled basis and test their systems. There's some simple things that we've done is that if you remember the $5 million, I think the TERS is carrying this, but there's a $5 million contract to put Metro's equipment in place, communication systems, et cetera. One of the things that Metro changed, believe it or not, in 2014, we did test, 2014, that's a long time ago. And the operator said, I can get close to the platform if you'll simply give me a striped line on the concrete, and I'll center my steering wheel on that. And I think they still feel that way, but they want a little bit of a security blanket. And we're coming back in with a steel box beam, if you will, at the base of the platforms, that once the tires hit the platform, we won't be ripping up the platforms with their lug bolts on their wheels, and it protect their equipment. We're also doing a little bit of a safety plastic, they call it a gap filler. It's actually bridging the distance between the platform concrete and the bus itself with a flexible rubber, essentially mat. And so all of these things are coming together, the pieces are working, and both at the transit center and along the boulevard and along the West Loop improvements is being done. We are finalizing an agreement, the TERS, the Uptown Development Authority, is finalizing an agreement that will be signed by both them, the district, which will come back to the district, and the City of Houston and Metro for the long-term lease of the transit center. The district, you were actually the ones that received the grants. And part of the restriction on the grants is that you must commit to transit operations. So through this lease agreement, Metro will make that commitment for us. And so that agreement, the draft of that has been done, and I believe we've had at least one communication session after that. Then we have to have an agreement for how we own and they utilize the stations along Post Oak Boulevard. And we are supposed to have our first draft of that at the end of the month, and I realize what today is. Stephen realizes what today is. We probably make it by Monday. And so all of these things, not only the concrete and steel and the fiber and the glass and the legal agreements are all coming together so that this project can kick off. We are even entering into a very simplified agreement with them that will have Metro assume the responsibility as our contractor that built the transit center on the south, completes that project and steps away. Who's going to hold the keys? Who's going to maintain the security? Who's going to make sure things aren't stolen, carried off, and things like that? And Metro is going to assume that responsibility. So all of that's come together, and towards a midsummer, mid-July kickoff of revenue operations is where we sit right now. All right. That's all we have for today. We appreciate you making time in your schedule.
Thank you for the updates, and with that, we are adjourned.